Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons from BrandonSimmons.biz, and this is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, this week, we finally made it, child. I didn't think we was going to do it personally at the top of the year, but it's here. The Texans are hosting a playoff game. That's right. That is right. This weekend, we will be hosting the Cleveland Browns, a team that we played not too long ago, and things ain't go the way we wanted it to. But I'm gonna get into all that, as soon as I can. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm gonna do a quick little game recap of the Texans over with their win against the Indianapolis Colts. So, spoiler alert, long story short, the Texans handled their business going into Indianapolis and beating the Colts on primetime TV on the last Monday night football broadcast of the regular season. So Texans won the game 23-19. It really was that close. Didn't look like it was going to be early on. Texans jumped out offensively. Texans opened everything up with the with C.J. Stroud to Nico Collins on a 70-yard touchdown pass, first offensive play of the game. And so throughout that first half, it was just back and forth, you know what I'm saying, grueling. But for the most part, the Texans finished that half with a 14-3 lead. Second half, a little bit different story. Colts seem to be a little bit expired. Colts seem to be a little bit inspired coming out of the locker room. On their first drive, Jonathan Taylor ran for a 49-yard touchdown. Texans answered back with a field goal. And then just more back and forth. Colts really tried to bring the momentum a couple of times, but on one of those drives they ended up missing a field goal. Texas turned around, put that into some points. They also had a touchdown by Devin Singletary. I said I was gonna have this pulled up and I didn't. They had a touchdown by Devin Singletary in the fourth quarter as well to go up. Um, 23-17, and that was a score after the Colts had tied it up in the fourth quarter 17 all. And then, you know, the safety. I thought sorry that was something else. So, but yeah, Texans went up 23-17. Then in the closing moments, fourth and one, Texans made a somewhat of a stop, incomplete pass by the Indianapolis Colts on the fourth and one play. And you know what I'm saying, that really got us the game, sealed us the game right there. Just my overall quick just overview of this game. Um, there were some things that I wasn't pleased uh, with the with how this team performed, both offensively and defensively. I thought we had quite a bit of penalties, and just on some undisciplined type of stuff. And this wasn't no, oh, I wonder if this is a penalty, if that's a penalty. And like, no, this wasn't that. I don't think the refs did a bad job or anything like that in this particular game. I think this game there was just a lot of undisciplined thing, false starts, illegal hands to the face, just really sloppy things like that. And it's a game that you know what I'm saying? It was physical because it was a competitive game. So I think things like that, they no, that they're going to happen, and so the referees probably just they're probably getting ready for the playoffs themselves and trying to make sure that they call those things so those things don't really get out of hand and just affect the game down the line. So I think we need to clean that up, and then just I don't know what it was. Usually I run defenses a little bit better than what it was Saturday, but it seems like they could not stop Jonathan Taylor. He had close to 200. My screen went dark again. Why I keep doing that? So he had 188 yards on the night, and he was dealing. The analysts were talking about he was dealing with heel and ankle injuries. All throughout the week and heading into this game. So um, for him to pull off that performance, what can you do? You know what I'm saying? I think that wasn't so much to do with our technique or I scheme against him, but more so he just had the heart that night. And he just came up short. So it is what it is. That's the breaks, and we were on the other side. We were on the good side of those breaks. So congratulations to the Texans, AFC South champions. So we are on our way. Now, another thing, the injuries that's coming up for this. That's coming up for the game this week. Um, There seems to be the same list. Nothing really changed. Will Anderson's on here. He's been dealing with an ankle injury uh, for a while now. But I, it shows on here he didn't practice Wednesday, which is today or whatever. Noah Brown didn't practice. Same for Jonathan Gennard, Jerry Hughes. Um, let's see. Malik Collins listed as limited practice. Sheldon Rankins listed as limited. So was Robert Woods. And Andrew Beck listed as did not practice, but was a limited practice yesterday. So um, Will Anderson, not too concerned about, only because he was like that heading into last week's game. And he was kind of like, in and out. They didn't really have him on too much of anything. He just I'm looking at it now. He just had one tackle in the last game, but he didn't really I think they said that they had him on a minutes restriction and things like that. So maybe they probably put him on a limited practice on Thursday and Friday and just kind of see where things go. And maybe they probably keep him out again Thursday and just bring him in Friday just to, really just kind of make him heal and extend. Maybe they might put him on another minutes restriction, or they might extend the minutes since this is a playoff game. So he's one that's really like questionable. Jonathan Gennard, he hasn't been in the lineup for a couple, I think for a couple games now, and that's because of injury. So he's really. I really hope he can pull through in these next two games because he's really an important piece on this defensive line. He's been my favorite player on this defensive line, and all those guys are dogs. You know what I'm saying? Ironically, so but all those guys are really, really tough players. You know what I'm saying? They're really solid, uh, efficient players. So I'm hoping he can pull through. So with that being said, it's time to go ahead and get into this game. And so the Texans, they're hosting the Browns again. And the last time that they hosted the Cleveland Browns, probably about 2, 3 weeks ago, I'd say, yeah, 3 weeks ago or so. And didn't go the way we wanted it to go. At all. So Browns, they jumped out to a 36-7 lead. Joe Flacco, Amari Cooper, they just had themselves a field day against our defense. Cooper, he set a franchise record for single game receiving yards for the Cleveland Browns in that game. Um, Flacco, he added another notch under his win for his semi comeback that he's, you know what I'm saying, that he's been doing since, the latter part of this season. And so really it's just, what I'm saying, that game was just, it was just one of those, you couldn't believe it. It was just, wow, you know what I'm saying? But the one thing about that game as well, um, CJ Stroud was out. You know what I'm saying? He was still under concussion protocol. I think it was the second game that he was under concussion protocol. I hope I said. I hope that comes out. I hope I said that right on the camera. Concussion protocol, head check system, whatever. But it was the second game he was under that in the sideline for that, and so the offense wasn't the offense that's what I'm saying that's been performing all season, and things just wasn't up to par, and I don't know how it affected the defense, but somehow it did. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, like the Browns just they had the field day. They jumped out to a 36-7 36-7 lead in this game early on, and things just looked completely lost. So this that so now that we got Stroud back, things should be real different. And the injuries, some of them are still there, but you can see in different places, it's particularly on the offense with Robert Woods. Some of the injuries are kind of going away. Everybody's healing up. So I think that's going to be really, really important. So here's three things Texans need to do to win this game. And first off, number one, the secondary, it must be better. So Stingley, Nelson, Petrie, Ward, all those guys, they got to have like one of their best games of the year in this game. You know what I'm saying? Flacco, he tore us up. Amari Cooper, I just mentioned he had the franchise record for the Browns for a single game receiving yardage. So we can't let him just go off. And don't get it twisted. It's not just Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is nice, but that whole receiving group, they're they're not bad. You know what I'm saying? In addition to him and Joku, he's somebody that can just really go off. In fact, I believe it was that Thursday after they played us, they actually went to uh, they played the New York Jets, and Njoku had like a 100-yard receiving game against them. You know what I'm saying? A tight end. You know what I'm saying? Against that New York Jets secondary, who people have lauded as one of the best, secondaries in this league. You know what I'm saying? In this league this season. Everything else for the Jets, that secondary is top notch. You know what I'm saying? Um, so for him to actually, you know what I'm saying, do that on a short turnaround, that just lets you know how dangerous that he can be, as well as this receiving group. So the secondary, they have to be tight. The coverage, it has to be better. And yeah, just don't let either one of those guys just go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Capitalize, number two, capitalize off the mistakes and turnovers. So in the last game, the people probably might not realize that Joe Flacco had two interceptions. And the thing about that is, when I was doing the analysis in the video for that week, I mentioned that Joe Flacco had just kind of started. I think he had maybe like one. I think he had like a couple games under his belt. You know what I'm saying? And people were still like kind of wowed by the Joe Flacco phenomenon at the time. And so my thing was like, he's doing good, he's getting better, but he still has like some things that are, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of susceptible to, you know. So I think heading to the game previously, before he played us the first time, I mentioned that he had 4 sacks and three interceptions in that game. And so that just kind of let me know that, you know what I'm saying, he's good now, but he still has some mistakes about him. You know what I'm saying? So I think what has to happen in this game is, if we land those mistakes, if we get those turnovers, we have to capitalize on that. And you can see, and you don't even have to go back that far. You can go back to Indianapolis. You know what I'm saying? When they missed the field goal, then we turned that into some points. You know what I'm saying? So things like that. Just kind of, you know what I'm saying, capitalize off that. If we get a turnover on downs, let's turn that into points. A field goal, yeah, field goal is fine, but let's turn that into a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? Same with interceptions, fumbles, all that. Turnovers, you know what I'm saying? All that. Generate those, you know what I'm saying? But don't just generate them, capitalize off them. Because this is the playoffs. You literally get like 1 week, you know what I'm saying, to really like extend your season. And so you make if you make a mistake in like that one season, you know what I'm saying, in that one moment, then that's it. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, just go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, really just capitalize off the turnovers that you generate. Um, Third and final thing, balance the play calling. And so with the balanced play calling, um, I have to say this personally about the Texans, and obviously it's because we got, the pieces that we need. But I've seen, I'm so impressed with how balanced like the play calling can be with this team, and I've seen it in action where it's extended drives and everything. And so yeah, so I've seen it where it's extended drives. It's, you know what I'm saying, kind of kept the opposing offenses on the field and all that stuff. And so I really, really, really like how the play calling is being. And so I think that's going to be a key in this particular game. Just is going to be needed to keep the Browns offense off the field and wear down that Browns defense. Because even though the Browns defense has been like their main star, you know, because they've had like I think yeah four different four different quarterbacks to start for them this year alone, and we all know how the Browns quarterback list is. You know what I'm saying? Um, but throughout all of that, their defense has always been like applauded. You know what I'm saying? It's always been held. It's always been like in high regards. I think it might be number one. You know what I'm saying? And if not number one, at least in the top five or top three in a couple of like deep in the important defensive categories. So I would definitely think that yeah, so I would definitely get the balanced play calling going and just try to wear down this defense, especially Miles Garrett. You know what I'm saying? So I'm surprised I haven't mentioned Miles Garrett's name and keeping him at bay, but the way the Browns offense played last time, I think that was a much bigger issue at hand. But with that with that being said, we have all our pieces. We have Stroud back. Nico Collins is here. Singletary and Pierce. I think they can figure out the running, the 1-2 punch with those guys, and so that'll bring me to my next bullet point about that balanced play calling. We have to dig into that run game because that's going to be the key to a balanced play call. You know what I'm saying? So I know Stroud. He's an amazing passer. You know what I'm saying? One of the top passers in the league this year. But he's definitely going to need to be helped out with his running game. Singletary has had a couple of good games so this year. He's had a couple of 100-yard games. You know what I'm saying, especially in the second half of the season. So I think they're, you know what I'm saying, leaning on him more as the lead back. But I still think Pierce can provide some type of value. He can provide some spell value, maybe some short yardage value. Excuse me. He can still definitely be used, and it's going to be key to find out how to use him, and not just him, but um, Oga, okay. OG. He got I can't the other running back, 33. I'm gonna learn his name by next week. But um yeah, definitely throw him in there as well. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of get a mix of like, you know what I'm saying, three running backs just to keep everybody's legs fresh so they can run as hard as they can each time they take the ball, especially in the fourth quarter if we happen to just get a sizable lead. You know what I'm saying? Just to, because I was going to be all about running down this Browns defense. So, um, so the running game is definitely going to do that. And even though most of the season has not shown that, I think the Texans are definitely capable of showing that with this running back group, at least with Singletary and Pierce as a 1-2 punch. That's all I really got for these three things. So number one, secondary has to be better in this game. They can't give up the big plays to Cooper and Joku, anybody. You know what I'm saying? They have to be better. They have to be tighter on the coverage. And yeah, simple as that. Number two, capitalize off any mistakes and turnovers that the Browns make. Because hey, they're not perfect. They're gonna make some mistakes. They're gonna be on the road. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be out of their element. We're gonna be in our element. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a big moment, but we had a big moment last week. We got another big moment this week. This time we're gonna be at home. We can embrace. We just have to embrace that pressure and make them and force them into mistakes, turnovers. Once we do that, just capitalize off of them. And also, third and final thing, balance the play calling. If we keep the balanced play calling, it's going to extend the drives and it's going to wear down the Browns defense, number one. But it's also, number two, most importantly for this particular situation and circumstance, is going to keep that Browns offense off the field. You know what I'm saying? It's going to keep them out of rhythm. So we won't have no more franchise record for single game yardage for the Browns or nothing like that. These are the rebooted Browns that have been back for almost 25 years, and now's not the time for them to start setting single game records on us. So let's just balance this play calling and implement long drives, and simple as that. So uh, that's all I got for y'all this week. I'm happy the Texans are back in the playoffs. It's gonna be a great game. Texans gonna do their thing. I'm Brandon Simmons, BrandonSimmons.biz. If you're watching this on YouTube, like this video, click the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, facebook.com/BrandonBlog is my page. Like my page. Check out for more videos and content similar to this coming in the next few weeks. I'm Brandon Simmons. I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.